All right, and starting up a quick podcast here in regards to talking about things relating to medieval history or medieval topics in general, such as today we're going to talk about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which came out like a month ago, and we're now talking about it. But I am NCverse on Instagram and obviously curator of this channel. But with me today is
Hi, I'm Caleb's Cosplay. I've been a cosplayer for about 2 years now, but I've been an avid fan of Assassin's Creed for quite a long time, and I'm pretty intrigued with how the series has been going. Some of it good, some of it bad, but overall, it's been enjoyable.
and we'll discuss that at length. We also have the War Queen from our Minecraft server popping in as well for discussion.
Hello, it's
What's up?
me. I'm a trash mammal.
So let's actually first discuss why we're all here discussing this particular thing. Obviously, for me, I played Assassin's Creed 1, which I really liked. It was very sort of cerebral and kind of chill, right? But I couldn't quite catch on to Assassin's Creed 2 and only picked up the new one since it was the time frame that I prefer, which is, for me, when I think of medieval period, I think of like the late 800s to mid 900s, where they've got chainmail and round shields and Vikings and Saxons. But yourself, Caleb, obviously you do more with Assassin's Creed than I do.
Yeah, I didn't start playing the series until Assassin's Creed 3 was released or was announced, and I was like, man, I've been seeing this franchise for a while, but I've never had a chance to play it. So I started with the first game, and I tried to go in order as best I could. I found the Ezio trilogy in like a single pack, so it was like a really good deal. I enjoyed the Ezio trilogy a lot, but ever since the first game, we never got a true medieval Assassin's Creed, which was something that I found surprising. I understand the progression through history, but I felt like in you know, a scenario with assassins works best when you can actively wear armor and have swords and be cloaked and all that. I felt like as, the Renaissance and then the American Revolution and then my least favorite game, Romans, yeah. My least favorite game, which was Syndicate. I did not like Syndicate. I did not enjoy the Victorian, uh, era. It just wasn't my thing. I actually still haven't played it fully. Every time I try to play it, I get bored and I stop. Same thing for Assassin's Creed 3, but then I eventually buckled down and played it, and I enjoyed it. It was a good narrative. Connor was a good character. A lot of people don't like Connor because he's so stoic and serious, but I felt like he had to be for that time period. It wasn't a Italian Renaissance happy-go-lucky time. It was the American Revolution. It was frustrating and upsetting and sad and a whole lot of stuff. But yeah, so with the announcement of Valhalla, I was pretty darn excited. I was waiting for a Bayek sequel. Bayek is probably my favorite protagonist in the series, and I was really excited for a Roman era. And then people argue, "Oh, we already had Roman stuff. We had that in Ezio trilogy." I'm like, "Yeah, but that was Roman ruins. That wasn't the Romans. It wasn't their empire. It's completely different beast. Absolutely, yeah." But with Valhalla, I was like, you know what? I can get behind this. I knew that they were going back to a medieval setting, and I was very happy to see that they did that. I mean, obviously, there's historical inaccuracies in a lot of it, but so far, my playthrough has been fun, glitch free, which is a blessing because a lot of
part of the
people seem to
game.
be reporting bugs. It's kind of part of the game. Yep.
But you also
Yeah.
do cosplay. Obviously, you have your Instagram where you cosplay a lot of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I try to keep that in medieval setting as well, and I don't really do any established characters from the franchise. I feel like if I can make my own characters that fit within the universe, I have much more freedom than if I were to cosplay like Ezio or Connor or all that stuff. Props to people who do that. Absolutely, that's really good. But I feel like I can get more enjoyment. Pretty much launched me into the Instagram cosplay world.
Hmm. And actually, continuing the idea of cosplay, obviously, we as a group are used to doing something where we have to either purchase or make our own outfits. And I won't discuss it at length until it's until it's released. But we did just do something for Assassin's Creed, where you had obviously a group of us were in effectively what we normally do, but specifically targeted for Assassin's Creed. But you had the sliding dagger. Did you make that, or is that something that you purchased?
I have 3 hidden blades that I've made from scratch. I purchase uh, the cheap fake letter openers from from Barf and stuff, and then I cut them off their base. I attach them to a 16-inch drawer slide. I grind it down to shape along my arm. I'll add some plating to cover the mechanism. It's very rudimentary, and it's something that I know how to do, and I like it because it's a simple gravity activated blade. It's not meant for fighting. It's not meant for any other use besides cosplay. It's not spring loaded. It's actually very very safe. Um,
Very simple, very easy to utilize. All those of you that did use it, so it looked cool, and I think it'll definitely serve its purpose when what we did do is released.
yeah, absolutely.
Beyond that, let's discuss a bit of the game itself. Obviously, I'm not big into Assassin's Creed since I've only played the first game. I enjoyed it,
Hmm.
but I quite obviously have not played anything up until this point. What did it for me was the scenario, but uh, I am enjoying the expansive map or the world that they're giving you, both when you start and when you finally reach England. I think it's really fun just going around and doing stuff rather than just the story. So that's what I've been, at least my first impact of opening the game was enjoying the expansive universe presented to us. What was your first thoughts when you get into this obviously different scenario than what is normally in Assassin's Creed?
First thoughts was I'm really glad that we're not going to be sailing around most of the map, which was what Odyssey did. Um, Assassin's Creed Odyssey was their Greek, uh, their Greek theme. It was very controversial. There was no hidden blade. There wasn't any actual official assassins until even DLC came out. Uh, my girlfriend thoroughly enjoyed it. I found some enjoyment, but overall, as an Assassin's Creed story, it just didn't do it for me. With this map, with Valhalla's map of the 4 kingdoms of England and Norway, it is gorgeous. It is beautiful. I love how big it is, and I love how the map almost betrays its size. The in game map, when you bring it up, it looks smaller than it really is. So when you actually get out into exploring, you know everything is further away than the map kind of shows that it is, which caught me off guard.
Yeah, much like real maps. Obviously, real
Much
maps we
like real
use
maps, yeah, exactly.
is in no way, shape, or form indicative of the actual size of what is being mapped out. But this one, once you get in there, I love the map. By the way, the actual historical map they use for
Yeah,
England. I
the
don't know.
the grayscale almost.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
as soon as I popped in, uh, seeing Wessex and Mercia and Northumbria and all these places that I know about, and the characters or historical people you should expect to see in them. That was fun. I presume, War, that you've played maybe Skyrim, which would be something of a similar situation. Skyrim, Fallout, I think Final Fantasy 14, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, where everything is kind of becoming much more open world.
I in certain scenarios, open world is the best. I feel like for this game, it works very well because of the exploring, raiding, adventuring aspect. Um, I do miss the more compact and smaller maps that Assassin's Creed used to have. Like Assassin's Creed 1 was amazing. There was a tiny little open world portion between the cities, but each city was its own contained environment. There were secrets, there was different ways to parkour. I feel like the open world doesn't do well for the parkour aspect, which a lot of fans are, fans of. However, London in Valhalla was kind of like a love letter to the OG fans. It was compact. It was its own environment. It has a lot of ways to scale about and to explore. So I appreciated that. As for the series itself, I feel like after this, if they choose to go and make more games, I believe they do need to make them smaller, more compact, with extra stuff put in there. This open world
change every now
is
and then.
change, yeah. Bring it back to. They've done a great job bringing it back with Valhalla, with the series' high points after Odyssey, but I feel like they could still do more to make it like the olden days, to where you had these cities that were, you know, contained, and they were their own environments, and you could explore and parkour and do a bunch of missions inside those cities and not feel bored, and not get fed up with them.
Now, do you both find that the open world experience adds to the overall experience? Because I've heard,
Right.
there you can have a good single player game that doesn't have an big open world concept, but a lot of games recently are pushing this open world concept because they think that's what gamers want.
For me, I'm big on those open world RPGs, but sometimes if that's all you play, it does get boring. I think it works incredibly well with Valhalla because we're in medieval England, able to, at least in terms of familiarity, go to places that we know about and have that open world experience. But I also enjoyed the more intimate Assassin's Creed 1 scenario where it was a little bit more tighter in and restrictive. But I think in this sense it works. But in the sense of some other games, it just depends on what scenario you're doing.
Do you both think that that could be an interesting take if they decide to do a Roman themed game instead of having that large open world like they do in Valhalla, to bring it just to the city of Rome?
If they made a Roman Assassin's Creed game at the height of their empire, but just kept it in like a couple cities, Rome being the main one, that would be the best game ever. Like, have it be a Bayek sequel, have it be not a Bayek sequel, I don't care. Set it in a Roman period, and have the city of Rome be what you explore and is the main part of the map. That would be so incredible.
Yeah, I mean, in this game, you have Roman influence in the sense of they were there on that landmass for a while before leaving, so you get to see the ruins. But I think in terms of a Roman game, it would probably be better as an intimate setting rather than an open world.
Right.
Because some places just do it themselves. You don't need an open world.
Yeah.
For this one, the whole idea of Scandinavians and Vikings is that they traveled and explored the world, so it adds to that element. But if you're just doing the Roman city, you can just do the Roman city. There was so much going on there anyway. Yeah, so quick notation going into a historical aspect. Obviously, for me, I watch The Last Kingdom, and we did, of course, Viking England scenario for the show that we do.
Yeah.
So I've already I got people in my head that I want to see in the game. As soon as I plop in and see Wessex and Mercia, Northumbria, and places that you should expect to see Alfred and Ethelred and Ethelfled and Ethel Pancake, Guthrum and such, and Ubba, I'm like, where are these people? I need to find them. Right now, the only story thing I'm doing is trying to get into, and I don't know if you do or not, because I stray from the story pretty much 90% of the time, but trying to get into Guthrum's group so that I can see how they interpret Guthrum. But I haven't seen anybody else historical as of yet.
Historical people will show up as you do the different arcs. The way their story structure in this game has been set up is that you do, instead of an overarching story, it's individual arcs as you go to each region. You gain alliances, you form friendships. In each of those like 1 to 2 hour story arcs, you meet these people that you're talking about, and it's actually a very fun experience because you could do different things out of order and get different reactions from people who you've either met or not met before.
So yeah, I've reached an area where you have to meet Ethelfled in order to get this piece of armor, but I also sidetrack completely 90% of the time.
Yeah,
So I haven't even touched Wessex.
I'm on 93 hours of playtime, and I think I'm halfway through the story. It's a very large game, but that's only if you go out of your way to explore everything. That's why I had such trouble with The Witcher 3 when I first played it. I hadn't played it when it came out. I played it just recently. I actually played it before this game, kind of to hype myself up. And when I played it, CD Projekt Red actually made their game in such a way they're doing side stuff is actually like not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do the story first and then do side stuff because you'll be at the appropriate level to do that stuff. But
that's
I didn't
the problem
know that.
I had in The Witcher.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do all the contracts. And then I get to the main story and I'm too overpowered and it's not giving me enough XP because they did this weird thing to where it cuts your XP almost down to 0 if you're over leveled for a certain mission. Regardless,
What I do for every game.
I still had fun. Which I do for every game. Yeah.
Like the grind is real with RPGs.
Yep. That's why I think a lot of people have had trouble with Assassin's Creed becoming an RPG. They want a cohesive story and not have to go out of their way to get to a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine in Origins. Origins is actually one of my favorite Assassin's Creed games. Don't hate me. But in Odyssey, they did something weird to where you have to grind to get to certain levels, and it was frustrating. In this game, they give out experience like it's on fire. Like they give you so much stuff, and that's actually really good for the people who just want to casually play through the story. They can still be appropriately leveled. Whereas if you want to go out of your way to do everything, you get so much goodies. You know, your reward thing in your head is like, oh yes, more, thank you. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on a tangent. As far as historical figures, this game is chock full of them. I was actually quite surprised. Have you met Alfred yet?
No, I haven't even touched
Okay.
Wessex, Winchester. I haven't even gone to London yet. I'm at a point where I'm in areas that are within obviously the level cap. First thing I did is go to as many of the synchronization that I can at the time, and then work my way inward with the wealth and compact it into just the low level areas to finish that out before I continue the story. So I know where he's knocking about, but I haven't touched Alfred at all.
So you played King Alfred in 2018 of our Sarasota Medieval Fair, correct?
Yeah.
I will say that I don't know if it was coincidence or if it was premonition, but either way, it kind of lined up to where this game's Alfred. It's pretty well done as to your performance. Like your performance of Alfred was like perfect. When I see this game's Alfred, I'm like, oh, that's yeah.
Is he like as he should be, like sickly and stuff like that? Obviously, yes. I'll see him, but I don't care about spoilers.
Yeah, no. He's smaller. He's got sallow cheeks, but he carries with him an intimidating presence. That's actually pretty cool to see someone of that stature be that like intimidating. I have met Guthrum, and again, the actor who performed in 2019, who performed Guthrum, is uncannily the same as this game's portrayal of Guthrum. I was pleasantly surprised. Like I kind of regret not doing the show in 2018 and not being able to be a Saxon because Saxons rule. But yeah, I will say that the historical figures in this game are well done. I'm enjoying their presence and their impact on the story.
Yeah, I've just finished The Last Kingdom, which obviously is the same exact scenario. So I don't know why, but when I go in there, I keep expecting to see characters from that show. I'm like, not characters like Uhtred, because he's made up for the show, but expecting the historical characters to be similar, but obviously that's not the case, and I haven't found any of the historical characters as of yet.
So at this point, would you both agree that they've put a lot of effort into trying to keep the game at least a little bit historical?
Super big historian, and I focus more on accuracies of equipment and what's the word? Like equipment that
environment.
Environment. Yeah. Thank you. Not so much historical figures, because we already know a buddy who's big on that. So I know that some characters like aren't where they're supposed to be, or they obviously didn't meet this fictional game's protagonist. I enjoy seeing historical characters in fictional games. I think it adds a sense of realism, sense of groundedness. I enjoyed the presence of George Washington in Assassin's Creed 3, and I actually liked how he wasn't shown as this super amazing guy. He was a flawed human, as are we all. I liked how he and Connor, the game's protagonist, were actually at odds with each other because of the treatment of the Native Americans. So I appreciated that inclusion. I liked how they didn't make George Washington like a super perfect guy. The Vikingers. We know that they weren't actually called Vikings. They went a Viking. The Danish and the Norse are actually, they're pretty intimidating, but they're also just human beings trying to survive after being displaced from their home. After King Harold thinks that he can just take over Norway, he displaces a bunch of his fellow Norse, so they have to leave. Plus, there's no way to really grow crops in a frozen wasteland. So I like how they're shown as these sympathetic people. I don't approve of pillaging anybody. It is fun to do it though, in the game. So in the game, not in real life, legal reasons. And I also really appreciate how the Norse are actually a little bit shorter than the Saxons, because they were. The Norse were a smaller people. They weren't these giant hulking beasts of men and women. They were actually, about 5'7" in height, and they were very, very stocky, but they had short legs. And I like how the Saxons are a little bit tall. They're towering over these Danes and Saxon and Norse. So I like that kind of historical accuracy. As far as characters and stuff, I'll let you talk about that, Nick.
Yeah, same fashion. Obviously, anything related to Viking is going to be dirt on their face. They're going to be wearing leather and fur. But obviously, that to me is a put off. But the game itself is more about gameplay than it is anything else.
I don't know how super recent it is, but it definitely seems like in the last couple of years of putting Viking stuff in popular culture, there's been a move away from the really anachronistic horned helmets to the whole white dudes with braids and dreads.
Favorite parts of talking about historical stuff is the attire and the armor and weapons that they used. I have seen a move away from the horned helmet thing. I think that's just for comedy things now. And one quick thing I want to touch on, about the kilts. That's actually something that a lot of people message me about on my cosplay page. They said, "Hey, why are you wearing a kilt? Why are you wearing that?" They didn't wear that. I said, "I know they didn't wear that. Trust me." However, when you hear the word Scottish,
so that the audience understands.
I definitely support the separation to allow an understanding of what side is which. So I get it. It doesn't bother me as much because of gameplay is good and all that stuff. I just wish it in a educational sense that it was understood that this is more of an entertainment aspect. Like I could go on a tangent on Jurassic Park, but similar vein. Nope, you sound better. I actually have a question for you because we last talked when we were doing a stream melee. And I think you mentioned you wanted this game to have more of an assassin element that I think you mentioned other game did not have. And now that I think you've played obviously more than I have, because I just kind of meander.
Just a little,
But has that I haven't even built the Assassin's Creed hut yet. Like I'm just like, I'll get to that eventually. But has that come up for you that you've been satisfied enough with that idea?
I have thoroughly enjoyed the, I can't believe I have to say, inclusion of Assassin's Creed elements in an Assassin's Creed game. But yes, they tie into the story very well. This game is very similar to Black Flag, which the main character was not an assassin for the majority of the game. And he basically plundered the armor and weapons of an assassin. Very obvious and very clear. The hidden blade use is very satisfying. You can actually toggle one-hit assassinations, which again I find weird. It should always be a one-hit assassination. However, I do like the idea of, you're in the heat of the moment, you're trying to stab someone, and you miss, and you don't get that full kill. You just graze them. I felt like that was a pretty immersive thing that they did. So yes, the Assassin's Creed elements in this game are very obvious, very very good. I enjoy them, and any Assassin's Creed fan would enjoy them as well. There's something for everybody.
Nice.
But that should be it. We've covered pretty much a lot of ground that is to talk about it beyond going past hours and hours of casual conversation we could do in person.
Man, I could do that any day, all day. So if we meet up again, let's do this.
Oh no, for sure.
I have to actually play the game in story mode so that I have something to talk about. But beyond that, yeah. So I'm NCverse I think I am, at least on Instagram. I'll have to look some point. There'll be some text down there. There's Caleb's Cosplay with us here. And then the War Queen on Instagram.
Yep.
And the podcasts will be every other Saturday, much like the Minecraft games are every other Saturday on the opposing Saturday. So that's been us doing some chat about Assassin's Creed.
Fun, man. Thanks for having me on.
Bip-a-bop.
Been a pleasure. What?
Rabble do.
Rabble.
Random closing words.